Hello everyone, my name is Alex.
I am Haksum Harkin.
I am Rosanna Baez.
I'm Cynthia Sherry, and today we are here to present you. As you already know, our topic is re-entry, but we're gonna base on job interview. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I was looking for you. You know, do you remember that I told you like I was applying for a job?
Really?
Yeah. They called me. I got an interview, but I don't know what to do. I am so nervous.
You know what? Don't worry. I have somebody that can help you. Just sit down and take your chair and listen.
Really? I hope they can help me because I really need that job.
Okay, don't worry. I'm telling you.
Everybody at some point has to go to an interview. Sometimes we wonder, maybe it's the first time and we wonder like, what should I do? What things do I need to get done before I go to the interview? So right now I'm going to cover some very important tips that we need to follow and we need to make sure that we are doing before we go to an interview. And the first one would be research the company. What does that mean? Before we go to an interview, we need to know information about the company because it's not only about the money that we want or the position we want. We want to know what they do, maybe how long they have been in business, because you never know if in the interview they will ask you to tell them a little bit about the company, and it will be a very awkward moment if we are not ready to answer a question that should be easy since we are interested in working there, so we need to know that information. Now, it might sound like, why should I be reviewing my resume? I wrote it. It's very important. You know, like some people write a lot of information in their resumes, and it might happen that you forget things that you have written in there. So it's very important that you, before you go to the interview, you take some time to check your resume to see if it's in the order that you want it to be, if it's clear, concise, and concrete as you want it to be. So that it's very important that you check it so you make sure that you are presenting what you actually want to present. And a lot of us have probably delivered an elevator speech before, and it's very important that we practice that. Why? We don't know if on our way to the interview, maybe in the parking lot, and in an elevator, or just near the hall, you will find the CEO of the company, or a manager, or whoever that's going to interview you. You never know if you will find somebody on your way there. So it's very important that you're not hesitating to say who you are and like what your purpose of being there is and what you do. So it's very important that you're prepared for any event that might happen, like saying your elevator speech. And you know, like when it comes to elevator speeches, in order to build it, we also need to take into account for the interview and anything we do, our weaknesses and strengths. Because sometimes in an interview, they might ask you about your weaknesses and strengths. And who knows yourself better than you? No one. You know yourself, therefore you need to know your weaknesses and strengths, because it will be a little bit embarrassing if somebody asks you about your weakness and you are not able to answer that question. Sometimes it's a lot easier for us to see what our strengths are. But when it comes to weaknesses, we might hesitate a little bit, and we don't want that to happen in an interview. So a good tip would be that in advance, we think of a couple of weaknesses that we have. And it's not only about saying, I'm wrong with this, or I have trouble with this, but what are we doing to improve that? So a key point in an interview would be, say your weakness, but just give a little bit about like what am I doing to improve that. An example of mine would be, the only one I have all the time is that I'm forgetful. And in a company, maybe they don't want a person that will forget about meetings, a person that will forget stuff all the time. So what I do to contrast that point is just say that I always take notes, I try to keep an agenda, and that's the way I try to control that. And sleeping, that's very important before an interview. Remember that when we sleep, the next day we feel more active, and some of the effects of lack of sleep would be our problem solving, our alertness, reasoning, our attention concentration. Those are some of the things that are affected by the lack of sleep. Just keep into account that whenever you go to an interview, you need to rest well the night before. Why? You don't want to look tired. You don't want to miss something while you are in the interview due to a lack of concentration. And it happens when you're tired. You cannot concentrate as much as you do when you have rested enough, or you feel confident and comfortable with yourself. And who in the room, do you raise your hand if you have a Facebook account? So now let me ask you a couple of questions. Do I have a volunteer? It will not be something bad. No, from the ones that have Facebook accounts? So I will get to people. The guy back there, can you tell us your name?
I'm Anderson, sir.
So, can you tell me, Anderson, what kind of profile pictures what kind of profile picture do you have now, and what cover picture do you have? If you would like to share that with us.
Well, I have a profile suit. I make a profile picture when I'm wearing a suit, and I have a cover picture with Mr. Clinton.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. I've never had one with a president.
For that picture.
That's pretty cool. So it sounds like a professional profile. And who else want to share what describe it? Astrid?
So in mine I don't have a profile picture. First of all, in my cover I have my friend doing a crazy thing. So it is not professional.
Well, I can hear that. I'm not to judge any of the profile pictures that you have, but just keep in mind that your profile picture and whatever you put on Facebook says a lot about yourself. And you never know that an employer might just go into your Facebook account if you provide it, or maybe they will just go there and look you up. And what if you have a picture that's not appropriate? And it happens. Some people just post crazy stuff. Like we have an example right here. And what does it say about who I am, Miriam? So your profile picture says a lot about you. And we have an example right there. That's Hudson's profile on Facebook. And it looks pretty neat. So what we can say that he's really worried about his representation on his profile picture. And then we also know where he studies. I'm not saying that you should put that on there, but that's not bad. And for what to wear, we need to keep it simple. Remember that today we are just going to focus on business professional kind of interview. So this will be a perfect attire that you might want to wear. You don't need to limit yourself to a black suit or just black clothes. But remember, not like a brown suit, because it doesn't go for the event. So maybe blue navy or black would be a perfect choice. Remember, for the guys, not to wear bright colors when it comes to shirt and your tie. And For the girls, it can be a skirt or pants, as long as you're not there very tight skirt and very tight pants, then it's nice. And also remember to keep it professional, no bright colors, and covering, not showing too much. So that's very important, because you don't want the interviewer to be looking at something that you don't want them to look at. So just keep in mind that, and your hair, it's a very good idea to have a nice haircut, and for the girls to have, not to have hair on their faces. That's very important, since you don't want to be like pulling your hair back every now and then during the interview. So that's very important, so you are concentrated in the interview and not your hair falling on your face or anything like that. And shoes, keep it formal, not sneakers, or make sure you shine your shoes and don't go there dirty. And that's for you. You need to be ready before the interview. And what not to wear. And we will start off by the pictures right there. And it might happen, the first two guys, the guy on the left, he's wearing like he's going to a park or something. And he actually looks nice, but we don't want that outfit for an interview. Or the girl right here that looks like she's going to the beach. And then the guy right here on the right, some people might say, but I'm going to an interview, so I might be wearing a shirt and tie. But you don't wear shirt, tie with jeans, and sneakers. So keep that in mind. You need to dress professionally, not having too many things on your hands like bracelets or watches, and that's a little bit too much in this picture. And for girls, earrings, do you see those huge earrings? Don't do that. And makeup, you need to keep it as natural as possible, not showing like a lot. And necklaces and all of that, that doesn't go with an interview, because you're not going there for a fashion show, you're going for a job that you're looking for.
As you have listened to all the tips that you have to take into account while you are going to go to the interview, remember that you have to take other points into account or consider during the interview. And that is, the first one is they arrive at least 15 minutes early to the interview. Remember, the time is the key factor that you have to consider before the interview. And you know that the earlier you got there, you have the time to look at your resume and get ready for the interview. Then, once you are the interviewer is asking you questions, don't continue talking. Once the question you have provide the answer, remember you have to give specific details. It's not necessary to give a lot of details that are not going to be appropriate for the question that they might be asking. And answer all the question with the truth. It might happen that they can put you to do something, and you are lying, you are not able to do whatever they want you to do. So you always have to be trustworthy, don't lie, because if you put something that is not true in your resume and you want them to see if that is true, you are not going to be, they are not going to rely on you anymore. And ask important questions, but don't ask about money. The important question that you can say, what can I ask? It is about the company. The company, any company does a lot of things. You can ask for the values, the prints, the mission, the vision, the statement. all the kind of thing that any company has, you can ask for. You have to show the interest in make a profit in the company, in help the company make profits, but don't ask about money. Remember that money is the less important thing that you can ask for in an interview. And be friendly and smile. That is part of your personality. If you are in a way that you are sad and they are asking you something, of course you have to present, you have to show your interest in get the job and always be smiling with them.
Hi, Cynthia.
I was the
You know what?
What
I
I
went
did?
to the interview and I
Oh.
think I did a great job
I'm glad.
because I did all the steps that your friend told me to do. So I think I got a job, but what is next? What I have to do now?
It's a great question. You know what? First things you need to do, it's always important to send a thank you letter or an email. Because that's not mean you're gonna get the job, but that's gonna help you to convince them in a certain way. It's always check it, make sure you check your email. They might send your email, you never know, and you take time not to look at your email. And your phone also check if they